this gonna work? This is so dodgy. I need to kind of slide. Alright, that's not gonna work. This is gonna slide. Can we see the table? All right, I think I'm live. Should get in here and do the reading then, shouldn't I? Hello, collective. Thanks so much for joining me. First of all, happy New Year, everybody. It has been quite a few days since I have done a reading, and that is because I have been extremely busy in my own life. And then I have actually had I've had like a couple of little situations come up, right? So I am new to collective readings, and I did not realize how intertwined our energies were going to get. The other thing is that if you have checked out the channel before, then you'll know that I did a reading about the orbs. And that was the last video that I posted. So I was sort of shadow banned from posting that video. I've had like 20 friends watch that video at like right from the link. I sent them the link. I'm like, check out this video, see what you think. Like, obviously, there was some interesting things that happened in that reading, because when I went to read into the energy of the orbs, my spirit guides told me that I was going to, essentially, it was a karmic thing for me to read into that energy, and that my ancestors would prefer that I didn't. So then I had to take the reading in a bit of a different direction. So I obviously wanted to like soundboard what happened in that reading with some of my friends, my spiritual friends, because I've never actually, I mean, I have been told before in readings, like I'm not supposed to read certain things, but never like, oh, there's karmic implications for you reading into that. So, but what was interesting is I sent out the link to a couple of my friends to watch the video and to give me some feedback, and so we could have a chat about what happened. And none of those, they've watched the video. In fact, I think even 3 of them have commented on it. But none of those comments have shown up, and I believe the views on that video are still listed as 0. So there was a little bit of shadow banning or something that went on there. I'm not exactly sure what that's from, because at the time I hadn't seen any other readers reading into that energy of the orbs. And then since then, I've seen 2 readings, I believe, where people are talking about. And I think I am going to start. I know everybody in the spiritual community is like, oh, it's kind of faux pas for you to like call out other readers. But I wanted to have a mention. 144 from stars. On his community tab, he has sort of got like a roll call for new readers and new channels. And so he's really into the spirit of, you know, getting us all together so that we can do the spiritual work that we're being called here to do together. So I just wanted to give a shout out. I don't actually know his personal name or spiritual name, but the channel is 144 from the stars. Love his readings, and he's also starting a new course. I believe he's going to be reading through the Hebrew version of the Bible. So I am going to be sitting that course on his new channel when it starts. So big shout out to 144 from the stars, and his little doggy Odin. Is that right? I think so. All right, so let's take a look. I have grabbed these are like financial abundance cards. Let's just call them like Pentacles abundance cards. I don't have any specific thing that I want to read on. Let's just talk about a couple of things that have happened. So I did end up having like some like pretty heavy spiritual attacks. That was around the 8th of Jan. And at the time, I used the Merkaba for cleansing. And I do have some notes that I made because I was doing a mix of like yoga and meditation. But the energy that I was channeling was Merkaba energy up through the nadis. And so I've made some notes on that, like audio notes. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to kind of condense some of those audio notes. I'm like doing meditation and doing yoga and like talking about what I was just doing and how I'm doing it. So I want to actually start including some of my spiritual practices. Maybe just sort of like sit down and meditate with me, or like sit down and yoga with me. I do like yoga classes. I'm not currently living in I'm pretty remote right now, actually. So there's none of the typical classes that I like to attend, but I've been doing yoga for 20 years, and I just do the postures that I need as I need them. I don't have like a set series that I go through. I tend to like my floor series at the end of the day. And in the morning, I actually do a lot of prop yoga off of the coffee table, the kitchen counter, that sort of thing. You want to balance, you want to make a nice balance between sinking into your postures and actually being able to let go and make space, and obviously strengthening and gaining that navel chakra energy. All right, we do have to do a bit of shuffling here. I mean, I usually shuffle when I put the cards away, but I haven't pulled these out for a while. So we're just going to start off with an archetype card for the reading. So this is for our collective, the New Earth Collective. We're here. We're doing it, guys. So let's pull. We have got the offering. So I am going to read from the guidebook. If you are not interested in that, then you can skip ahead. And but the offering is sort of like our starting point for the reading today. So what can be said about the offering? The offering to me seems like a tool. The offering 193. I know I hate when other readers do this. So eventually I'm going, but this is like, I've only had this deck for a year. So I actually don't know the ins and outs of, the author's interpretation of the cards off by heart yet. Okay. The offering, it says the gift, the present, the sacrifice. When in light, generosity, donation, volunteering. When in dark, giving with expectations and keeping track. Unlike many of the other cards in the deck, the offering carries a clear as day message and a call to action. All right. I'm feeling like pretty pumped up right now. In fact, once I'm done this reading, I'm going to the gym. I'm having a coffee. So action is definitely the energy I'm in right now. So as you may have guessed, it is a time for something to be given and given up, For the sake of the bigger picture, if nothing comes to mind immediately, though it is likely it will, take time in meditation to consider what must be offered and who is to receive it. Oh, so, and this is the other thing that I've been sort of personally caught up in. Okay, so Kumbh Mela is on right now, and I think probably a lot of you know Kumbh Mela is a huge spiritual gathering in India that happens every 4 years. And so the night before Kumbh Mela, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I was given this spiritual name Bhairavi, which is an incarnation of Kali and Ma Shakti, by two separate spiritual teachers, two separate times. So like really strange, right? To be the destroyer. But the lineage that gave me is the Agni Nath lineage. So that is the lineage of yoga that I've studied. It's the lineage of, I've spent a lot of time with the Agni yogis in India. I've spent time in the cremation grounds. I've spent time at the side of the rivers with them, walked, like done pilgrimages, not like with them sort of thing, because everybody sort of hangs out on their own and interacts in like interesting ways. But what was really interesting is the night before Kumbh Mela started, I was just like, all of my tantric practices were just like ding ding ding. I'm like, I've got to like, I was up, I was doing meditation. I'm like getting right into my old tantric practices, and I had no idea why. The next morning I jumped online, and of course in my feed it's like all this grand opening of Kumbh Mela. So that's obviously why. I get that with Vipassana as well. I've been doing Vipassana meditation for many years. If I even get close to a Vipassana meditation center, I can feel when they start meditating. So, and I think most of you have probably had that sort of experience. So I have been doing a old meditation, an old mantra that was given to me. It is a Shiva, like the Shiva side of the lineage. It is pure consciousness study, pure consciousness, pure awareness of consciousness. So it's not any super esoteric tantric practices, just awareness and absolution of one into consciousness. So I have been doing meditation. It's like 35 minutes before sunrise, 35 minutes after sunset. I'm doing it for the full duration of Kumbh Mela. I was obviously pulled and called to do it without even knowing that it was Kumbh Mela. So I am going to continue to do that into February. What occurred to me when I was called to do this practice for this period of time was that for austerity, I know, like, I've got a lot of friends who are into their psychedelics, and they feel like psychedelics are like the epitome of spiritual experience. And I have to say that all of my spiritual experiences, all of my profound spiritual experiences have been sober, 100% sober. And a lot of them come from using austerity. And austerity is, I guess they have it in like Christian and Catholicism with Lent, where you sort of give up something for a period of time. So I would really, any 8-day period during the Kumbh Mela, you can join and practice. Today would be a great time to start if you receive this message, because we have the Planetary lineup that is happening today. So if you wanted to do an 8-day practice, you can start with something like anapana, which is sort of awareness of the breath at the nose, or even awareness of the breath at the third eye. Something really, really simple. It doesn't have to be a long practice. 7 or 8 minutes is enough if you're just starting out. Exercising your meditation muscle is better than not exercising your meditation muscle. So it says, if there is a gift you've been thinking of giving someone special, now is the time. And I would suggest that you guys look at giving up a gift to who you consider to be your spiritual elder, your spiritual teachers, your angels, your guides, whatever. And ask yourself what it is that they would want you to give up for that period of time. So I am, I'm going to eventually start a Patreon, and then I will start sharing with, a more select inner circle, some of my practices. I don't always like exposing all of my practices publicly. It's when people understand how you practice, they can also understand how to forge weapons against you. So, although no weapons will prosper, it's nice to be attacked. So I do want to start creating that inner circle and that inner sanctum. All right, so we've got the offering here, and let's have a look now at some of these pentacle cards. These are, I believe, now I'm gonna forget her name. Why do I have to right as I'm gonna go talk about the cards? Abraham Hicks. I'm like, all right. So these are sort of abundance cards by Abraham Hicks, and I want to pull let's start. We're gonna pull 3 abundance cards. So, with the Kumbh Mela, with this time of, I think, sort of, it's not just about going inward, because it's more about us learning to connect with our guides and learning what appeases our guides and appeases our god or gods, potentially, depending on, there is a pantheon, of course, we do have legit with any of the other gods and goddesses in the pantheon, so long as we're using okay, so we've got 3 different little tracks here. I can pivot under any and all conditions. It says you've got the ability to pivot under any patterns are so well entrenched that at times the fastest path to the joy you seek is for you to take your pivot as you sleep. All right. So it says more, but this symbology here of the what are they called, that tell the direction of the wind. So look, I think that for me, that pivot has come, especially in the last 2 weeks. It's been all about, I've been working with walking the line of the double-edged sword, ego and victimhood as 2 sides of the double-edged sword. If we're talking about things that we want to give up, So a lot of the times when we give things up, we're looking for something in return. And so to me, this pivot here is really about um, making sure that our intentions and for our sacrifices are continuously being brought. There's more than one ingestion is using the primary URL. Send one stream to the primary ingestion URL and one stream to the backup. I do not know what this means. It looks like it's still recording. I'm still actually getting used to this whole YouTube thing. And then a friend just told me that there's like this other streaming software I should be using. And so I'm going to start playing around with that as well. Okay, so let's have a look here. I want to dig in just a little bit because, for me, like I was saying, for me, the thing that I have had to be drawn back to, especially just for the last 4 days, is what I'm giving up. Am I giving it up? Am I giving things up for God? Am I giving things up for the highest? So I think we're going to poll. Let's see what we can. Let's get a general understanding of how this message that I'm talking about being able to pivot under all conditions, is currently applying to the collective. We have the 8 of Swords in reverse and the Mother of Wands. So the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords right here is the upright. But when I pulled this, it was the 8 of Swords in reverse. The 8 of Swords is typically a card that means self-imposed in restrictions. And it's self-imposed restrictions based on our mental thoughts and our mental patterns. The Mother of Wands, Queen of Wands, is all about intuition and gaining that intuitive wisdom from the sun, from the soul. So I think that this is just really, re-emphasizing what I was saying about we can get caught up in our heads. And of course, even when we're doing spiritual work, we can make mistakes, right? Nothing's really a mistake, but we can always improve, right? We can always improve what we're doing. And so being able to have that flexibility to pivot with spirit, for spirit, is definitely what is coming up here. And so what this is saying to me with the 8 of Swords in reverse and the Mother of Wands, it's just like I said, that we are moving past those limitations that we have when, whereas in the past, maybe we wouldn't have made that pivot, right? Like kids generally give up. Well, isn't that the story of Cain and Abel, right? Where he was supposed to be giving up the best of what he had. So we can sometimes not give up what we are being called to give up by spirit. And with the 8 of Swords in reverse, this is telling me that we have that ability to pivot. So we can identify in ourselves, for ourselves, what it is that we aren't being authentic about in our giving, in our spiritual life. and that we can make a change. So let's take a look and see here what the challenge is for our collective. The opportunity, and this came out sideways, the Ace of Pentacles. So in a Celtic cross, when things come out sideways, it is either helping or hindering. So what this says to me is that our ability to pivot right now is what is going to help or hinder our spiritual development. Now, I pulled out, this is just a little deck that I've made. Ooh, I've used it before. It is my chakra, and I have lost one card here. We're going to say that the universe did not want that one in the deck for the moment because I actually can't reach down and get it. So I want to pull a chakra card and take a look at where we might be able to get some healing or focus. Now I've pulled two here. So this tells me that we're working in, oh, I've got three. All right, we've got root, sacral, and navel. We're working with the lower half here, people. So what we're working with is this animal, they say that our lower chakras are instinctive chakras. They are animal chakras. Now we are spiritual beings and we have the ability to come into awareness and to work with these. So the mantra for our root chakra here is, I am safe. I am connected to nature and my environment. For the sacral chakra, we have, I am creative and joyful. And then I've got this, like, look at how I've written this. In Christ at the bottom, this big gap. I am creative and joyful in Christ. We have here for the navel chakra, I act with confidence and grace, and I accomplish things quickly and easily manifest. So if I just relate this back to, because I have had to correct my spiritual course, and like I said, in the last 4 days, there's been I've called myself out 4 times in the last 4 days, where I'm like, it's like I was not, with the chariot card is all about managing the light and the dark and keeping things on the straight and narrow path. Now, I was having like this sort of like double vision where I was seeing the spiritual and the godly and the light and the good aspects of the way. I was using my words in ways that could be interpreted positively or negatively. And I did that because I wanted to temper and test the ground that I was with, the people that I was working with. But a really big lesson for me that's been coming up, it was a lesson for me because it was a lesson against me that for somebody else, and it's just really brought it to light for me. So last year, I had somebody test me, right? And I had to tell that person, I'm like, tests only test the ability of the tester to write the test. Or they test the tester, right? So think about if you've got a really bad math teacher and at the end, he gives his students a standardized test at the end of the year and they all do really poorly. Like, what is it really testing? Is it testing the the people in the class's ability to learn the material, or is it actually showing that the teacher's just poor at teaching? So I think we have to really watch when we go through, and if that is our intention. And for me, that is what came up. That was just 2 days ago. I'm like, and I caught myself doing it. I'm like, whoa, like, you're trying to gain information here, but you're trying to gain it not from the Most High. You're trying to gain that information from other people by putting them through these, like, quote unquote spiritual tests. I've got something going on right now. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's like a little line here. I don't know which light or which shadow that is coming from. I hope it's not annoying you guys. Okay, so what helped me realize that I was testing in that way was to ground back into my environment. And at the time, I was actually just laying in bed, chatting on the phone, and it was that grounding, right? When I said it, I said something, and then I was like, man, that could be interpreted like, am I attacking them or am I giving them wisdom? And I saw both hamster wheels in my mind running. And I think that subconsciously I was trying to see how they would, but that's the right way to go about that situation. The right way to go about that situation is to go to God, to act with confidence and grace in the messages that we get from the Most High. All right, so let's move on to the second abundance. It says, I do not need to have money to attract money. So let's not use money. Let's use the word wealth or abundance. I don't need to have abundance to attract abundance. You don't need to have abundance to attract abundance, but you cannot feel poor and attract abundance. The key is you have to find ways of improving the way you feel right where you stand before things can begin to change. By softening your attention to things that are going wrong and more in the direction of what you. So this is how I worked through. So like I said, I have been reading tarot cards for years, but this is my first time doing collectives, right? This is like pumping it out to the whole world. And the reason I explained before that I don't do timeless readings right now, I am not doing timeless readings because of the karmic implications of that. Now, I know everybody's like, oh, well, when everything, I am not confident enough in myself that I am centered with God enough to know that every word that's coming out of my mouth is exactly the way it is intended for all time. So I am hoping that I still have this channel in 20 years. And, by then I'll be like grandma tarot reader, and I will be probably a lot more confident in what I'm doing. And hopefully by then, or, whatever the grace is, maybe I will be giving timeless readings by then. Everything is timeless and not of time anyways. So, and this is what this card says. It's about softening your attention to things that are going wrong and beginning to tell stories that lean in the direction of what you want to feel instead. So I was getting, I'm going to use spiritual attack. It wasn't really spiritual attack. What I noticed was that I was getting some karma, and I could feel that karma was not coming directly from me, but it was somehow tied to me. And I was like, oh shit, this is likely from my channel. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna deal with this? How are we going to increase our spiritual capacity to have all of these quantum threads with other people. And the way that I did make that shift was through not seeing it as spiritual attacks. Now, I was getting karma. And so there were subconscious processes there that were going on. And the fact that I knew it was from my channel and from my collective readings, or I did some personal readings at the beginning of January, or from that intimate interaction. But I chose to see it. So I experienced the ramifications of that karma, of that connection. And then I was like, oh shit, how am I gonna deal with this? And the way that I dealt with it was by not seeing it as an attack, right? It was actually by humbling myself and being like, yeah, I was about to go, yeah, dummy, you've only been on YouTube for like 3 months. Like, you're a baby at this, so chill out. And so instead of seeing it as karma, I started to learn how to unpick that and almost like weave the rope backwards to see how that had meant protection and yeah. All right, we're back. Okay. And this will be interesting as well if I end up like it just dropped me out, and I don't know, like my internet connection should be really stable right now. So I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see if we have more of these. I'm gonna take all of these cards, more of these attacks. All right. So what have I pulled here? We have got the Page of Cups in reverse and the Nine of Cups. So the Page of Cups upright, to me, this is like one of our big question mark cards, but I also use the word stupid. This card. Silly is maybe a nicer way to say it, but a lot of the times, like, this will come out as a punctuation card for me, and it's like, blah, 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 stupid. And it's just like this silly way that my guides talk to me, and I find it a bit endearing. So we're talking here about the fact that all we have to do is we have to change the story that we tell ourselves. And so what this card is saying to me is that this is our wish, and the way that we get is in that cup, not knowing whether it's true or not true. When it's in reverse, we don't have to question what image myself in the 5D. It is a lesson for how I'm supposed to manage myself in the 5D. 5D, there's no attack. It's all for me. All right. I'm going to just quickly, we might only be 15 more minutes. I want to try to quickly wrap this up because I am getting I'm dropping out quite a lot. So I will probably let's work through the rest of this reading. What are the challenges right now for the collective? All right. This is a bit of a story. Okay. The challenges for the collective. We have got the Six of Cups in reverse. Six of Cups is give and take. Six of Cups is well grounded, right? Well grounded. The light in this, the colors in this this card are in the roots. The magic is in the roots. Okay, so the Six of Cups in reverse. We have got the Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Cups is about celebration. It's about community. It's about joy. It's about achievement and celebrating those achievements together. We have got the Ten of Pentacles and the World. So the challenges here. Well, all right. Not remaining grounded in our practices, not having the spiritual grounding that we need in order to be able to shift our story, and not coming at things, like when I say things, I mean life in general, as though it is a celebration. Ten of Pentacles is all of the stability and foundation that we need. And the World card is about the end and wrapping things up. Let's pull a chakra card here and tease out a bit more of this message. We've got the heart chakra. I am blossoming like a flower, a pure expression of love. Got some sirens in the background here. Oh, and somebody, one of the readers that I watched said, listen for sirens. What did she say this week, just particularly this week, that it was well, she did use the word energetic attack. And here they come. And they're gone again. Okay. I don't need to have abundance to attract abundance. We've got the 10 of Pentacles and the World. This is the beginning with the end in mind. This is holding that knowledge of our abundance, of everything that we want inside ourselves, blossoming like a flower out of a pure expression of love and joy. So the challenge here was the 6 and the 3 of Cups, both in reverse. So not being grounded, not giving and taking out of that pure expression of love and our reciprocity. Okay. I'd like to pull, I actually wanted to pull, I feel like I need to pull one more card. I need to reach for the right deck. I want to pull a bit of an oracle card on that, just to summarize, because, you know, and here's the thing, like, I know that when I listen, because, you know, I obviously consume spiritual content. A lot of the stuff that we're saying is not stuff that we don't already know. It's things that we need to be reminded of. So sometimes I feel like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm like saying things that you already know here, saying things that I already know here. But I think it's really important. I mean, this is what's coming out in the reading, is if we want to attract, we don't have to have abundance to attract abundance. We just have to have the 10 of Pentacles and the World in our heart as an expression of pure love. And then we can manifest whatever we want. And, you know, it's not a stupid wish. It's of course our wishes are going to be granted. Of course the universe is going to provide us with everything that we need. Trusting my inner intentions will allow my vision to become a reality. I don't generally show these cards. Oh, you can see them. All right. I think these are beautiful cards. They're amazing cardstock. Trusting my inner intentions will allow my vision to become a reality. So it's really just going back, we're talking about here about our ability to pivot. We know we're all of us we're all looking for the same things in life. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be understood. Everybody wants that connection. So when we know that that is our intentions, then we don't build up negative karma. Mistakes aren't mistakes. They're here for us to learn and expand and to grow. Our intentions are in the right place. We're identifying our mistakes. I'm just going to pull a card here and see what it is that might help the collective in identifying those mistakes, identifying where they are potentially not coming up with the right story. I've got two here. We have got the Wheel of Life and the Ace of Lightworkers, the Ace of Wands. So the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Wands. So the Wheel of Fortune is our karma card. It's about destiny. It's about the way that things change and the way that things go. So what this is saying to me is that we are able to get control of that wheel, like that wheel. Oh, here it is up top. The wheel, the karmic wheel on our heart chakra. We are able to connect with that. And with the Ace of Wands here, we do it through our passion of knowing that we're good in heart, of knowing that we're solid, good people, that we're here to be doing the right things. We trust ourselves in that. We trust ourselves. And then when I said that, I immediately got this root chakra card here. I'm safe. I'm connected. I'm safe and connected in knowing that my intentions are good and pure and that I'm here to do the right thing. All right. Last card. I can give my attention to the positive aspects. Things are coming into your experience in response to your vibration. Your vibration is offered because of the thoughts you are thinking, and you can tell by the way you feel what kind of thoughts you are thinking. That is it. That was the answer that I was looking for. It's interesting that I pulled this card, but that you can tell by the way you feel what kind of thoughts you are thinking, right? So after I said that thing to this group, and it was an edgy statement, right? I was like, we were talking about spirit. I'm just gonna be a bit more sherry about what it actually was. I wanted to see what intentions people were coming at me with, and I made some comment, and I said, like, principalities, motherfucker, principalities, and I'm talking about, are we people who walk with the grace of God? And I wanted to see their reaction, because people either work with those intentions or they don't. And it was an edgy statement, but it was my feeling, because if you know that potentially you were talking to somebody who had been doing something that they were a bit ashamed of, that is a pretty edgy statement, right? It's kind of like you're like, yeah, I'm judging you, motherfucker. um, but my feeling after I said it was like, I'm like, did I say that to pull them back onto the right timeline, or did I say that to scare them? And probably a bit of both. Probably a bit of both. Um, but the feeling that I had inside when I'm like, oh, look, scaring people is not the way to bring them onto the highest path. And I don't even know whether I have any more spiritual power than that for that person or not, right? I was making an implication that maybe I had more spiritual power, and that therefore I was judging them, and therefore the fact that I was judging them, that maybe they should consider their actions. But and it wasn't actions taken towards me, it was just but the feeling of like using scare tactics as a way of delivering a message was what kind of made me check myself. um and then I did correct myself, and you know, um admit to where I was maybe, well, I corrected my intention of the way that I wanted to come into that conversation without without the scare tactics. All right, what else does spirit have to tell us here? We've got the tower in reverse. I can give my attention to the positive aspects. Make a decision to look for the best feeling aspects of whatever you must give your attention to. Now, with the tower in reverse here, what this is saying to me is that the tower is a card that breaks down everything that is not built on solid ground. So the tower in reverse says that when we do give our attention to what it is that we are growing, to what it is that our intentions are, that we prevent these towers from happening in our lives. All right, let's again, I'm going to pull a couple more cards. I want to get, ooh, I'm going to take these. And I'm going to take these. I'm going to put these back. Okay, we have got the Four of Swords in reverse and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Right, so the Four of Swords. Four of Swords is about rest and rejuvenation. Generally, right? It's about going into, I forget what those were called, where the knights used to have to go into this sarcophagus, right? I think it is a sarcophagus. And to find themselves spiritually, to find their spiritual guidance through a metaphorical death. This Knight of Swords card looks like he is, running away. He's taking off. He's on the move, right? I can give my attention to the positive aspects. And otherwise look for good feeling things to give your attention to. We have the tower in reverse to prevent that tower. So this to me is a message for the collective, because both of these are in reverse. it's telling me that we aren't correctly using this energy, right? So here, if we were upright, the Four of Swords is about that resting. It's about building that emotional. She's got the heart here in this really nice little bird's nest where she looks super comfy and cozy, curled up there. That's not typically what you expect of somebody going into the sarcophagus, but that's why I like this deck. It gives these alternate imagery for the cards. So what we're being asked to do here is to make sure that we are coming from this like loving nested place. In reverse, this says to me mother wounds, right? It's not receiving the attention that we need as a child, not having our needs tended to us, not having that safe nest to go to. And because of that, the swords is all about our thoughts. And so when the Knight of Swords is upright, he is bringing messages of clarity and very quickly. But when he's in reverse, he's acting, those thoughts are like, those are the thoughts that are getting us, right? It's like we're trying to catch up to our thoughts. So this is just a warning here for the collective about how it says, I give my attention to the positive aspects. So just to be very careful, it looks like the challenge for the collective is these motherhood wounds and our triggers that prevent us from focusing on the positive aspects. And we have strength here in reverse. So strength is about taming that subconscious aspect of ourselves. So that is the message for the collective in terms of what it is that the challenges that we have with coming back to the positive. Now, the reason that we want to come back to the positive intentions, love and light, not everything in life is just love and light. We do have to acknowledge the shadow aspects of ourselves, but we want to make sure that we're not projecting from those shadow aspects, that we're not letting our thoughts run away with us because we aren't nested and grounded in ourselves. All right, well, let's pull a chakra card here. Ooh. We've got the root chakra. I am at rest, grounded, centered with the 4-petal red lotus. I am at rest, grounded, and centered. And that's really what this card here is asking us to do. It's asking us to come to a place of rest and groundedness and centeredness in our mind, in our thoughts. So let's get a couple of messages here for the collective. These are just little inspirational. I'm gonna lost it now. Come back out for me, card. These two. All right. I wanted to get a couple of these little inspirational messages. We've got a couple of here. So let's start off with the first one. It says start somewhere. So it's been quite a few days since I posted, and I was like a little bit like, oh, I needed to make sure that I was ready for the next bit of quantum entanglement. But I got ready. This is a very different read to what I normally do. Start somewhere. I feel like we've teased out some good messages. We fail, we grow. And that comes back to these messages here about that we're able to pivot, you know, and to change, and that when we see the universe as being here for us as a teaching experience, and we keep our intentions set to embrace life as a teaching experience. Nothing is here to hurt us. Nothing is, I mean, things do, but on from a higher perspective, our bodies can be hurt, but our spirit cannot. And we are learning lessons. Be kind. And I think we need to be kind with ourselves. And that is how we will learn and be able to be kind with others. That really hit home with this message here for me, this idea of, you know, being able to heal mother wounds and triggers, and stop ourselves from when we are triggered, and to come at things from the from a place of restedness and groundedness. Be kind. Love your people. And with that, collective, I love you guys very much. I am so excited to be back. I have a work trip next week, so I will be I'm going to be on the road, but I've got really good Wi-Fi, so I should be able to set up. I might do some readings outdoors. We'll see how that goes with the wind. I would love for some feedback on the audio. I'm going to get, I think they call them a sock or a boot for my mic. But yeah, I'll be on the road. I'm really excited to keep doing some readings. And I have a couple of friends that want to sit around and watch me read on YouTube. So I think, because I want them to start their own channels, and maybe even start reading on my channel. You know, we're here to bring everybody together and to get the best of what we can from each other, because none of us here have the entire, we don't have all of the ingredients ourselves. Otherwise, there wouldn't be other people in the world, right? We're here for each other, and we're here to raise the energy of the collective. So I love you guys, and I'm so excited to be back, and hopefully we'll see you in the morning. Cheers.